After my brother had a car accident, he said that he had traveled back from the future. He ran to my company and shouted at my aloof boss, "Brother-in-law." I was shocked. I was just scolded by Qi Sheng because of a work mistake. Now that I've angered him, I'm afraid I won't even be able to keep my job. I wanted to force my brother out of the company, but he grabbed Qi Sheng's waistband. "Brother-in-law, you haven't confessed your love yet? Are you a ninja? You have my sister's name tattooed on your lower back. What are you hesitating about?" What the dead boy said was very strange, and I didn't understand a word of it. Qi Sheng looked very angry. His face turned red with anger. That night, I wrote my resignation letter with despair. But I accidentally saw the message Qi Sheng sent to my brother. "How many children will your sister and I have in the future? 像她还是像我? Divorce crisis? Did someone seduce her? Which bitch is it?" 1. When I received the call from my mother, I had just come out of my boss's office to be reprimanded. "Mom, is Chung Sun awake?" Chung Sun is my younger brother, a senior in high school this year. The night before yesterday, he was riding his bike back from self-study and had a car accident on the road. I stayed in the hospital for 2 days. If I hadn't been thinking about him, I wouldn't have mistakenly sent the text message I sent to Party A to my boss, and I wouldn't have been punished by him for so long. "Wake up! Wake up!" my mother said excitedly. "The doctor is checking him." I asked, "How do you look? Are your eyes and hearing okay? Do you still recognize you?" My mother was silent for 2 seconds. I was shocked. "Are you deaf or blind?" "He's not deaf or blind. It's just..." My mother paused. He always says some incomprehensible things. There was a sudden noise over there. I heard my brother shouting excitedly, "Am I the chosen one?" "Mom, are you talking to your sister on the phone? Give me the phone quickly." There was a rustling sound for a few seconds. "Sister, let me tell you, I came back from the future of 2035. You listen to me. I guarantee that you will get rich." I hung up the phone expressionlessly. Does this damn boy think I have a lot of time? There has been some problem with the company's capital chain these days. The boss is not in a good mood, and the atmosphere in the entire company is gloomy. When I came back from the phone call, my colleagues looked at me sympathetically. A close colleague asked in a low voice, "Qing Xiao, are you okay?" She gave me a thumbs up. "You are mentally strong. You have been scolded by King Qi Yan for so long, but you still can't change your face." Qi Yanwang is the nickname they gave their boss Qi Sheng. As soon as she finished speaking, she glanced behind me and shut up. Qi Sheng was coming out of the office. He is tall, with broad shoulders and long legs, and his facial features are too delicate to be faulty. He also wears a featureless suit that gives him a sense of abstinence. He walked into the elevator while talking on the phone. When the elevator door closed, the atmosphere in the company instantly relaxed. It seems that the company's capital chain problem has been solved by King Qi Yan. 吉言王也怪贫的. Whoever says otherwise, he not only exploits us, but also exploits himself. "Hey Qing Xiao, aren't you and Qi Sheng from the same university? He is your senior, right?" The topic suddenly turned to me. I nodded. Is this what Qi Yanwang was like when he was in university? 我愣了一下，拿药? The colleague thought for a moment and said one word. It's impersonal. 2. Qi Sheng was indeed my senior and the president of the youth association that I joined at the time. I didn't spend much time with him, and I didn't think I was an acquaintance with him. So I don't want to rush into commenting on his past. After laughing and joking to fool my colleagues' questioning, I went to the tea room with a water glass. Colleagues are still talking outside. My brain is a little empty. In fact, just now, the answer to that question immediately appeared in my mind. Was Qi Sheng an impersonal person when he was in college? I don't think so. Not just before. I looked around, and my heart moved slightly. Our company has only been established not long ago, and is a very new small company. But there is never a shortage of things in the pantry. After an intern fainted due to hypoglycemia, a space was specially made in the pantry to stock chocolates and candies of various flavors. The bathroom is always stocked with emergency sanitary napkins for girls. When it comes to socializing and dining, Qi Sheng can go alone if he can, but if he can't, he will ask boys to follow him. These are small things, so no one notices. Qi Sheng is actually trying his best to put the pressure on himself. 3. Qi Sheng came back before we got off work. Relax, look. The colleague whispered. The matter has been resolved. We don't have to work overtime tonight. Not only that, I don't have to work overtime. Soon we received a text message that we could take paid leave tomorrow. The surroundings were silent for 2 seconds and then boiled instantly. 我爱老板. I love Tingyue Technology. I love Qi and Wang. When the last shout sounded, Qi Sheng happened to come out of the office. The man opened his mouth wide and silently buried his head in the document. Qi Sheng was not angry. He just looked at us lightly. 早点下班. His eyes finally fell on me. I nodded quickly. Okay, boss. The bosses are gone. What are we cows and horses doing here? I immediately started packing my things and running away. While standing behind Qi Sheng waiting for the elevator, I received a call from my mother. Your brother has been discharged from the hospital. He said he was going to pick you up from get off work. This kid. 来接我下班，我皱了皱眉，他到哪了? We should be arriving at your company soon. She said that Cheng Sun sneaked away while she was going through the discharge procedures and only left her a message. All I saw was darkness. 行，我知道了，我带他回家. After hanging up the phone, the elevator arrived just in time. I followed Qi Sheng into the elevator. The elevator is not very spacious. We stood in the opposite corner. Although we had maximized the distance, we still felt a little cramped. I looked at Qi Sheng's back, a little lost in thought. I was caught off guard and heard his voice. Is your boyfriend coming to pick you up? Boyfriend? I was stunned. Recalling the content of the phone call just now, I realized that he had misunderstood. He quickly explained, No, he's my brother. Qi Sheng's brows, which were originally slightly furrowed, relaxed slightly and then nodded. That was my misunderstanding. Silence again. I stared at the elevator floor display, watching it slowly jump to 1. The elevator door opened, and I immediately saw someone with gauze tied around his head, standing in the lobby looking around. Cheng Xin. I walked over quickly. What are you doing in my company? Sister. Sister? Cheng Sun looked at me in surprise. You suddenly became so young. I'm really not used to it. Me. Are you crazy? Sister, let me tell you a secret. Cheng Sun leaned into my ear mysteriously. I came back from 2035. I looked at him very seriously. Didn't the doctor recommend you go to a psychiatrist? You actually let him out like that? Seeing that I didn't believe it, he scratched his head and head anxiously. He glanced at Qi Sheng, who was talking to someone at the front desk, and his eyes suddenly lit up. 那人不是. He pointed at Qi Sheng and stuttered when he spoke. I grabbed his hand. Don't point your fingers, that's my boss. Before I finished speaking, a deafening shout exploded in my ears. 姐夫. Cheng Sun broke away from my hand and ran towards Qi Sheng. He hugged Qi Sheng and slapped him on the back several times. Brother-in-law, we went out drinking and got into a car accident. Did you travel back to 2025 with me? I'm too scared to be here alone, brother-in-law. Fortunately, I have you. After saying that, he held Qi Sheng's face and gave him a sip. I was petrified. As soon as I got out of the elevator, my colleagues who witnessed everything were petrified. Qi Sheng looked at him in astonishment and then at me. He quickly came to his senses and broke out of Cheng Sun's arms. With difficulty maintaining the last bit of dignity, he gritted his teeth and asked, Can you tell me first, who are you? Me, Cheng Sun. Cheng Sun pointed at me. Your wife's biological brother, your most loyal brother-in-law. Everyone's eyes fell on me. 4. I blushed and grabbed Cheng Sun by the collar to drag him out. But he is 17 years old and very strong. He broke away from my hand, turned around and sat on the ground and hugged Qi Sheng's legs. Colleagues were stunned and had forgotten to go home. Some people secretly took out their mobile phones and started taking pictures. I couldn't bear it anymore. Cheng Sun, what are you crazy about? You don't understand. He also yelled at me. His eyes were actually a little red, and he looked even more aggrieved than me. I somehow traveled back in time, 3 months before the college entrance examination. Can I understand those heavenly books now? Just let me take the exam. Isn't this going to cost me my life? Mom doesn't believe it. You don't believe me. No one believes what I say. 你根本不知道我有多崩溃. Chung Sun screamed and then cried to Qi Sheng. Brother-in-law, do you really not know me? Why did we get into a car accident together, and I was the only one wearing it back? Qi Sheng finally understood what was happening. He looked at me and then at Chung Sun, his expression a little strange. Then he asked a question that everyone present wanted to know. 你叫我什么? Brother-in-law. Chung Sun said, You and my sister got married in 2031 and gave birth to Qi-in in 2032. Wow, speaking of Qi-in, that little bastard is simply a devil child. Shi woo woo woo. I covered his mouth. Stop talking. If you keep talking, we will die here together. Chung Sun shut up. Compared to dictating novels here, he certainly feels that living is more important. Ha 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 ha. I feel like I'm going crazy. I apologized to Qi Sheng randomly, turned around and left. Chung Sun got up from the ground and wanted to chase me. Maybe it was because I had just been in a car accident and was still recovering. My head felt dizzy, so I subconsciously grabbed whatever I could grab next to me. Qi Sheng's waistband. He also tore off the hem of his shirt. 5. Chung Sun quickly apologized. I'm sorry, future brother-in-law. He was very polite and tried to help him put his clothes back. Qi Sheng laughed angrily and took a step back. I stood at the door, watching this farce, wanting to laugh, but I couldn't. 我靠. Chung Sun suddenly stared at Qi Sheng's lower back. You have a tattoo on your lower back? After experiencing so many horse arrest incidents, Qi Sheng didn't react much. Only after hearing Chung Sun's words, his expression changed. He put on his coat casually and ignored Chung Sun. But Chung Sun looked at him in surprise and said something astonishing. You tattooed my sister's name on your lower back in 2025? Then you could bear to wait until 2030 to confess your love. 姐夫，你是忍者吗? Boom. I felt a thunderbolt strike, making me burnt on the outside and tender on the inside. Why? Why did Chung Sun say so many weird things in our company? Why did he want to ruin my career that I had finally built up? Does he know that I fed him dog poop when he was a child? My mind was buzzing. Over there, Qi Sheng looked at Chung Sun, his eyes full of astonishment. Then he glanced at me subconsciously, but quickly looked away. Gradually, her face turned red, and the redness spread to her ears and neck. It seemed that his iceberg face suddenly became vivid. When it was over, the boss was obviously furious. Ha 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 ha, before he fires me, I'd better resign. What now? I can only pretend to be dizzy. I rolled my eyes and fell to the ground. 姐，你咋了? 小程，乔姐，程乔. 6. Everyone hurriedly helped me sit down on the chair. Qi Sheng said in a nervous voice, I'll drive. You take care of her. Sure enough, every boss is afraid that something will happen to his employees in his company. As soon as he left, I opened my eyes. 同事, Please help me tell the boss. Thank you. I grabbed Chung Sun's ear and ran, sprinting for 100 meters, and then got into a taxi parked on the side of the road. Master, hurry up. Looking at the company building getting smaller and smaller in the rearview mirror, I breathed a sigh of relief and slumped down on the seat. Finally, alive. Chung Sun was very quiet along the way and didn't say a word. When he got home, he ran into his room and locked the door. My mother was stunned. What's wrong? Me. Mom, please put away all the dangerous items in the house. I'm afraid I won't be able to control myself and become an only child. Without saying anything, my mother went to the kitchen and put away the kitchen knives. I walked to the door of Chung Sun's house and knocked on the door. Come out. You have to give me an explanation today. Chung Sun's voice trembled slightly. The key point is that you don't believe me after I explained it. I'm sorry, sister. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it. Calm down first, and we'll talk again when you're not angry anymore. I lowered my hands feebly. Tired, really tired. He floated back to his room like a wandering spirit and sat there for a while. When I think about everything I just experienced in the company, I just feel ridiculous. Chung Sun said that Qi Sheng had my name tattooed on his lower waist, that he liked me, and that we would get married in the future. Ridiculously funny. When I was in college, my first love was set up by Qi Sheng. How could he like me? I sighed, turned on the computer, and decided to write a resignation report for later use. As soon as the computer screen turned on, several messages popped up on WeChat. It's Chung Sun's WeChat ID. During the school final exam 2 days ago, my mother took away his mobile phone. While he was taking online classes in my room, he probably used my computer to log into WeChat. I opened it casually, and just as I was about to log out of his account, I saw the latest message. Qi, 你是诚心? Brother-in-law opened the door, and I was my sister. Future brother-in-law. Ha ha ha. I didn't expect that your mobile phone number has not changed in so many years. Fortunately, I memorized your mobile phone number. Qi, the tattoo on my lower back, how did you know about it? My eyes widened. I leaned in front of the computer and read this sentence back and forth 3 times. The brother-in-law opened the door, and it was my sister. I traveled back in time from 2035. In 2035, we often went out to take a bath together. Of course I know. Brother-in-law, do you believe what I say? Shivering. JPG. Qi Sheng was silent for a long time, and then he sent one word. Letter. At the same time, Chung Sun's monkey calls came from next door. Finally someone believes in me. I sat in front of the computer, lost in thought. I swear I didn't peek into his privacy on purpose, but the person opposite is Qi Sheng, my cold boss. This attraction is too great. During the few minutes that I was lost in thought, they talked a lot. Qi, will your sister and I really get married in the future? My brother-in-law opened the door, and it was my sister. Of course, I will carry her on the float myself. Qi, how many children will we have in the future? Like her or like me? The brother-in-law opened the door, and it was my sister. Qi-in is the only one who looks like you. Brother, my sister suffered a heavy bleeding when she gave birth to her. You cried heartbreakingly in the hospital and refused to let her give birth. The other side was silent again. The brother-in-law opened the door, and it was my sister. Actually, you and your sister are very happy. Alas, it's all that man's fault. Otherwise, you wouldn't have divorced suddenly. Qi Sheng replied instantly this time. Divorce? What's going on? Who was that man? Did some bitch seduce your sister? I suspect that the person behind this account is not Qi Sheng. How could he possibly say such a thing? I don't know what kind of mood I feel watching their chat. I can recognize every word, but I don't quite understand what they mean when they are connected together. The brother-in-law opened the door, and it was my sister. I don't know the specific situation. It seems to be related to my sister's first love. Future brother-in-law, can't you confess your love as soon as possible? Give it a few more years to cultivate your relationship, and then that bullshit first love won't be able to shake your marriage at all. Qi Sheng, but your sister doesn't like me. Brother-in-law opened the door, and it was my sister. Who said that? My sister still has your ID photo from college. I stood up suddenly, rushed out the door, kicked open Chung Sun's door, snatched a cell phone, and long pressed the message to withdraw it. Done in one go. Chung Sun huddled on the bed. Sister, what are you doing? How do you know I have Qi Sheng's ID photo? I grabbed his collar and asked, You stole my things? Chung Sun blinked and realized, You peeked at me chatting with Qi Sheng? 7. After half an hour of in-depth discussion, Chung Sun and I sat facing each other in silence. I admit, I now believe his stories about time travel. But I still didn't give up. What are the winning numbers for the next lottery draw? Chung Sun, do you think I will know? What is the topic of this year's college entrance examination essay? Cheng Xin, 忘了. Me? Okay, I believe you have traveled back from the future. Cheng Xin. Me. With your brain, it's normal that you can't remember. I warned him repeatedly not to chat with Qi Sheng again. After getting his assurance, I walked back to the room in vain. Then he lay down on the bed. My mind was in turmoil. Qi Sheng likes me? Like me? This is too fantasy. The physical fatigue quickly defeated the mental excitement. Not long after I lay in bed, I fell into a deep sleep. I had a dream about something that happened a long time ago when I was in college. When I first entered college, apart from joining the youth association, I never joined any other clubs. In my spare time, I liked to stay alone in the library. Once, because I had eaten too much cold drinks, my period came early and my pants were inevitably stained. I was lying on the table at a loss when I heard someone knocking on the edge of the table. Looking up, the boy had already left. His coat and an emergency sanitary napkin were left on the table. The boy left no information, but a campus card fell out of his pocket. Only then did I learn his name and major. Su Jihuan is a professional with Qi Sheng, the president of the youth association who I just met. I heard that we are still roommates. I took the clean clothes to the club and asked Senior Qi Sheng to help bring them back. Qi Sheng's face was always expressionless. He took the clothes and nodded flatly. But because of this incident, I began to have a good impression of Su, a senior I had never met. I secretly paid attention to his class schedule, secretly inquired whether he had a partner, secretly wandered around the basketball court, and tried to create chance encounters. When I mustered up the courage to ask Qi Sheng about his hobbies, Qi Sheng, who had always been taciturn, told me a lot that afternoon. Finally, he asked me directly, "Do you like him?" My mind went blank and I nodded randomly. Qi Sheng was silent for 2 seconds and asked, "Do you need my help?" He was the matchmaker among them and was indeed a very qualified matchmaker. Su Jihuan and I officially started dating 2 months later. He is my first love. I cherish him and value him. This relationship was undeniably sweet in the early stages, but during the sweetness, it always made me feel physically and mentally exhausted. Su Jihuan and I have very different personalities. He is an out-and-out E-person who likes to be social, lively, and helping others. So much so that when I told him about our first encounter, he seemed a little confused. He has helped so many people, and I am just one of them. I consider myself a person with low energy. Forcibly integrating into Su Jihuan's bustling life made me tired and drained my battery. I broke up with him peacefully. After the breakup, contact gradually became less and less. I naturally labeled Qi Sheng as my ex-boyfriend's roommate. In order to make myself more comfortable, I quit the youth association and drew a clear line with him. 8. The next day, I slept until 3 o'clock in the morning and didn't get up. The work group is as quiet as a chicken. I guess they must have created a group chat without Qi Sheng and me, and we have already chatted so much that we don't even know what the world is about. I got up and washed up, and Chengsen also left the room at this time. "Sister, where are you going today?" 跟Fu Yan 出去逛逛. Fu Yan is my best friend. I have a lot of things on my mind right now, so I need to find a military advisor to help me analyze it. But who would have thought that after I said this, Cheng Sun's face started to turn red strangely. I frowned and looked at him. "What are you doing?" "Cheng Sun, sister, can I go with you?" "No." I refused without hesitation. He pestered me relentlessly. Even though I had put on my makeup, he still didn't give up. I couldn't bear it anymore. "Give me a reason." Cheng Sun's face suddenly became serious. "If I tell you, would you believe me?" I nodded. Cheng Sun took a deep breath. "In the future, Fu Yan will be my wife." Wow. I threw a glass of water on his face. "No matter how high you are, you dare to miss my best friend." Cheng Sun fell silent. 9. I went out and chatted with Fu Yan in a coffee shop all afternoon, and I felt a lot more relaxed. She said, "Why are you thinking so much? The future is unknown and uncontrollable. Just let nature take its course. Don't worry about things that haven't happened yet. It will overuse your energy." I think what she said makes sense. When I went to work at the company the next day, I felt much calmer. Although my colleagues' vaguely appreciative glances still make me feel a little uncomfortable. But after Qi Sheng came, the pressure I endured was much less. They looked at Qi Sheng's lower back unscrupulously, their eyes wishing they could turn into reality and lift up the hem of his clothes to have a good look. Qi Sheng looked the same as usual. Very stable. I seemed very deliberate. Throughout the day, I tried to avoid being alone with Qi Sheng and even avoided eye contact with him. In the evening, when I finished my work and was about to leave work after packing my things, I received a message from Qisheng. I just stood up and sat back on the stool. Not long after, Qisheng came out and I followed him into the elevator. There was no one in the elevator, so we stood side by side. I was the first to break the silence. "Boss, is there anything you want to tell me alone?" Qisheng glanced sideways at me. "Well, it's a private matter." He pressed the elevator button on the first floor. "I'll take you home. We'll talk on the way." Qisheng lives in the community next to my home, very close. When I got into Qisheng's passenger seat, I was completely confused. I'm very afraid that he will listen to Chungsun's nonsense and say something irrational. I'm afraid that our simple superior-subordinate relationship will deteriorate, and it will be very awkward for us to get along in the company. Fortunately, Qisheng seems to be much more reliable than Chungsun. He drove the car very steadily and slowly entered the traffic. I guess that even if he wants to say something, it should be tactful, gentle, and leave room for room. You know it. Qisheng looked at the road ahead and said unhurriedly, "I like you." Wah. What happened to your brother is indeed unbelievable, but I believe him. Since he has opened up some things, I feel that there is no point in keeping it secretive. Qisheng raised his eyes and glanced at the rearview mirror, but quickly looked away. His hands tightened on the steering wheel, and his knuckles turned slightly white. My eyes fell on his hands suddenly. It turns out that he is not as calm as he seems. He was nervous too. I pretended to be calm and asked, "When you were a freshman," Qisheng said with a smile on his lips. "At that time, you came to participate in the Youth Association's interview. It was just a formality, but you seemed very nervous. I gave water to every new student who signed up. Of all the people, you were the only one who told me thank you. I was a little surprised. Is that why?" "Qisheng, it's incredible, isn't it? But it's really because of this. I noticed you because of this, and my eyes stayed on you longer and longer. The more I looked at you, the more I liked you." I picked my fingers and my face turned red. Qisheng, who's always been taciturn and aloof, is so unstoppable when he plays straight ball. I turned my head and lowered the window a little. The cold wind was blowing, and I felt that my sanity had returned a little, at least I could think. "Thanks," I said. Qisheng was stunned for a moment, then smiled and shook his head. He seemed to recall something again. "Then one time, I met you in the library. You were lying on the table, and your stomach seemed uncomfortable. I gave you something and a coat I borrowed from my roommate." As he said that, he paused and turned to look at me. Then he said clearly, "It seems that you know this." I nodded. "I know." After breaking up with Su Jihuan, he dated several more girlfriends, and because of my schoolwork, accidentally crossed paths with him again. By that time, we were able to sit down calmly and chat like friends. He always has a lot to talk about. We talked about the library and our first encounter. At that time, that's when I knew it. My first love was caused by a misunderstanding. After that, my feelings for Qisheng became a little complicated. Like it? It's out of the question. But compared to others, my eyes always stay on him a little longer and longer. He was taciturn and rarely spoke to me. Every time he accidentally looks at me, he will quickly turn his head away. So at that time I thought Qisheng didn't like me. So I hid the little love in my heart. After getting my answer, Qisheng was silent for a while. During the evening rush hour, I was walking and stopping on the road, and within a few seconds I ran into a long red light. The car stopped in the middle of traffic, and an awkward silence fell in the car. The moment the red light turned green, Qisheng stepped on the accelerator and said at the same time, "I thought you didn't know about this." I was stunned for a moment and understood what he meant, wringing her fingers nervously. Qisheng glanced at me. "Don't be nervous. I'm not asking for anything, and you don't need to give me any answer. I tell you my feelings. This is my own business. When this drive is over, you can forget what I said. We are still in the company.